This sound pretty familiar? Have you said this to yourself? Oh my God. Oh my God. I have lost spark. All right. The rule of thumb is, check your CDI box. Okay, well, you can't really test the CDI. I mean, you can, but you got to have special equipment. So you're at the house, you don't know what the hell you're doing, so you got to learn this from the beginning, okay? Rule out everything else other than the CDI. Let me tell you why. There's this thing called a pulsar. A pulsar is located under the flywheel, all right, of these engines. They're twin cylinders, right? If that pulsar has two wires that come out of it, you take your multimeter and you put them on each lead, all right? And then you want to make sure you do one thing. You can put it on ohms, all right? See what I'm saying to you? And the ohms, that should read 0. Let me get that, okay. The ohms test is 20.0. You're thinking, hey, it sounds good. I'm going to be lazy, and I'm not going to do this next part. You need to test it, in fact, that it works. A pulsar, when steel passes by a pulsar, right, like the engine turns around and passes by it, all right, it swipes around back and forth, okay? All right, that's the pulsar. And when it does the swiping, it opens and closes the circuit, okay? Well, to test that, you go back to your meter with it still plugged in, and you want to put it on continuity, right? So like if you just touch the wires together and the beeper went off, that's continuity, right? So you put that on there. This is what I see. It goes round and around and around, and it opens and closes the circuit. You'll see that on your meter, right? You'll read some numbers, and then it'll read 0, or open circuit, okay? So if it does that back and forth, then you know your pulsar is good. All right, we've eliminated the pulsar. All right, the foot pedal has a micro switch in it, or it has M core. You got to test these things. All right. So 12 volts come up to the pedal, come back down to the solenoid. You got to make sure there's 12 volts. You push the pedal down, it's supposed to provide 12 volts down to the solenoid, and guess what turns the engine over? That. Okay? But it also makes sure that not this guy, but this guy's doing his job, and the ignition coil. All right. Now we're down to the ignition coil, right? Oh, by the way, I got to go back up here. The foot pedal, some models have what they call a G core. Okay? If your G core is bad, you get no power down to your coil. To your solenoid. It's just junk. Okay? So here's the deal. Or you have a micro switch issue. Oh, great. What the hell does that mean? That means some of them don't have those. They just have a box, and there's a pedal that goes back and forth, and it hits a micro switch. Right? The G core replaces that. Black mechanism. Let's say here's your pedal. My hand's the pedal. It goes into the G core, moves the back and forth inside, and it creates, a signal down to the solenoid, which starts the engine over. And while the pedal's depressed, it also maintains an open start and an open run circuit, which means as soon as you let your foot off the pedal, makes everything go dead short. You get my point? So that's what shuts your spark off. When you lift your pedal up, that pedal tells everybody, hey, we're done, and go to ground. Okay, so you got your ignition coil, all right? That ignition coil needs 12 volts to the coil, all right? Check the red wire. Yep, there's a red and white one there. Not the white one. Check the red one. We good? Well, how the hell do I do that? Well, you got to run the engine, turn it over, and put your test lead on there, all right? Your red wire from your test meter goes into that. The other wire goes to ground, and then you have to set it to voltage, and then you got to see if 12 volts are getting there. 11.5 is okay, all right? Then you can ohm test that coil, all right? You got to see my prior video, go to my channel, scroll down, and you're going to see how to test coils, all right? And once you check that coil, you also want to check the wires. There's 2 wires, right? Because them boys are twin cylinders. All right. So you have one ignition coil, but two wires come out. Imagine that shadow of the pen and the pen being two wires that come out. Okay. Right where they go into the coil, you can unscrew those counterclockwise, check for corrosion down inside. All right. You look for green color and white color down in there. Just clean it out, you know, and if the wire's damaged or it's eroded away, just snip back those leads, those two leads, just snip them back about probably an eighth of an inch and get some fresh wire there and then screw them back down into the coil. If you've got your coil in front of you or you're looking at it at your cart, you'll see what I'm saying, right? And by the way, I'm just letting you know that you're welcome. You're welcome to get a hold of me. You're welcome to reply and anything I didn't cover. But this is to, I guess, get your juices going that I got a Robbins twin cylinder engine on an ezgo, whether it's in a workforce, whether it's in a dump box unit, a golf cart. You know, a lot of 95s have them. You know, it just, my point being is, a lot of people look this information up. Doesn't make a difference, guys. People want to argue with me about this, but they can. Anytime you want to debate it, let me know. Okay? But right now, if you've lost spark, right, and you test all this stuff and everything tests good, what do we got to do? We go back to the CDI. Trust me when I tell you, if everything else tests good, everything, the wiring, the foot pedal, the pulsar, right, all your connections at your solenoid, your ignition coil ohms out correctly, you've got the proper voltage where you need to, then you come back to that guy right there. Okay? And some people out there who are famous for telling me that I'm wrong, that's okay. All right? That's no problem. I make money at doing this. Okay? And believe me, when somebody says, hey, could you check my CDI box? I say, well, after I check all this first. Then I can determine, you know, if this guy's good or bad. All right? And be careful when you're ordering one of these. You make damn sure the year, right? And the model number and the serial number are correct with that CDI. Because you go to Amazon like most people do, you just might get one for a year newer and you don't even know it. Boy, them wires come out, they better match exactly where they go. Here's a way to determine that. If you order one, it comes in, and here, I'll draw it right over here. Wires that come off the CDI box come into what they call a plug. And that plug looks about this like that. And if the combination of wires coming off the CDI, here, CDI, do not match the harness plug, and I mean the harness plug, right? It all comes out like this. And those colors better match straight through. I've seen them CDI boxes come, they say it's for that year, and guess what? That configuration is different, and it don't work, folks. It don't. So pay attention to your harness plug end, its color combination, on how it goes in, right? So if you're looking at it, you know, there's like 4 dots, right, where the wires go in. And that might be, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The harness side, get my point? Here we go. All the wires going in. That color combination has to match the CDI coming out of the CDI box and into here. Don't let them shit you. I've had them shipped all different ways. And if they don't match, I send them right back. All right. So, I'm sorry it took so long. It's 9 minutes. But you're welcome again.